Hello, welcome to the Sexual Harassment and Bullying event. My name is ELENA GEORGIU, and I'm so happy that you're here. And I'm going to go on sharing my presentation with you. My mission is to inspire and make this world a better place, free from abuse. I'm a featured global ambassador to Hope Kicks Global, co-host of the Miss Sexy Show, featured global changemaker at World Pulse, expert, researcher, trainer, and author, a winning author with 3 awards. And I'm working on my 3rd book. And I hold a master's in European Studies, bachelor's in sociology, life skills coaching, and I'm a certified vocational trainer and certified life skills coach and certified social media manager. I'm also the founder of the Global News, my YouTube channel, and you can see the link there if you want to check it out. And I have a new playlist now that's called Trauma Recovery Series. So very interesting discussions there, and you can go there and feel free to go there and check it out. So the services I provide is trauma recovery, emotional healing, and reprogramming of subconscious mind. So this process combines cognitive behavior therapy, shadow integration, reprogramming your subconscious mind with affirmation, meditation to heal your inner child, and creation of vision board, and therapeutic journaling, and letter writing. As you can see here, this is my book that is on Amazon and has won awards in the first International Book Award. And I'm also planning a trauma recovery workshop and to overcome trauma and the courage to be yourselves. And we will meet once a week for 2 hours. And it's about 8 hours for 1 month. And if you want to join, there's my email there, and feel free to send me an email, request information, or book for your seat. So why we're here? We're here because a few years ago, I was working in a university and I was doing my master's degree. And as I was working at the students' halls, there was an increase in sexual harassment and bullying. So I decided to do my master's thesis on this subject. And what I found that as I was doing my research, there wasn't good practices, nor policies, or even an office at the university there. So when I finished my case study and all my research, I went to the authorities and gave them my research and what should be done. And whatever I gave them, we are now having an office with good practices and policies. And so today we're here so I can share with you the types, the causes, the effects, and how to protect yourselves in cases of sexual harassment, either in a university or school or outside in organizations, everywhere, because we need to stop this and say no to it. So sexual harassment is a gender-related issue. And it includes physical contact. And it's always by a person that has an authority over someone with less authority. And it's an aggressive behavior, abuse, or intimidate, either verbally or physically, and an unwelcome behavior because it's not of mutual choice. So the victim doesn't want to be harassed or bullied. So based on the principles of equal opportunities and equal treatment of men and women, sexual harassment, where any form of unwanted verbal or non-verbal or physical contact of sexual nature occurs with a purpose or effect of violation of the dignity of a person, particularly when creating an intimidating, hostile, degrading, humiliating, or offensive environment. So although both men and women around the world can be subject of victims of sexual harassment, studies indicate that more than 95% of victims are usually women. So it can happen to anyone at any age. And harassers can be any type of person and doesn't have a specific age, color, religion, or education, or even marital status or working status doesn't exclude them from harassing others. So it can be anyone, level in the organization, age, and do not exclude people from being harassers. And many studies indicate that harassers have low esteem issues with themselves. So let's go see the types. As you can see in the picture there, there's a gathering of boys, and there's a little girl there standing there, and they're teasing her. So the one of the group types is this group of men deliberately embarrasses women with their comments, unwanted compliments, or innocent jokes, as they say, or gestures or displays of distressful postures. So all this display causes humiliation to the women and also hostile environment. And according to Bregel, most women experience this as humiliating and disturbing. And one of the boys group is verbal and visual harasser. We then have the great gallant that occurs when a person makes compliments and comments to a woman that are out of place with the intention to embarrass the victim. So he focuses only on the appearance of the victim and focus on the appearance and the sex of a worker rather than her competence or her contribution are usually unwelcome. So the victim feels annoyed and does not embrace the compliments. And as you can see in the picture, the opportunist is a man who knows how to grab opportunity to harass women. So the type of man that when the opportunity presents itself, he insists on friendly kisses and helping them in any way. He gives his attention freely. And he will insist that the woman like and enjoy his attention, or even that the single and divorced women need it. As you can see in the picture, the woman is pushing the man. And it's unwanted what he's doing. It's not mutual. And the power player is a man with high position that uses his power over women, sexual favors in exchange of benefits. So the perfect example is blackmailing women to keep or get a job, a promotion, and so on. And this kind of harassment is abuse of power and costs the company's image. So according to Bregel, it can lead to bad business decisions and can cost the company dearly in terms of effectiveness, the cost of special favors and company images. And this worst harasser is the serial one, and it's very difficult to deal with because he has a serious psychological issue. He can cause a lot of damage without anyone knowing that it was him. So plans his approaches carefully and strikes in private, where it is his word against the victim. And the situational harasser, he has psychological issues, and his issues are linked to different problems he faces in his life. So incidents are often linked to specific life situations or emotional medical problems, such as divorce, wife's illness, and hormonal imbalance. So the causes of the harassment, sexual harassment, is the way they were brought up to learn behavior, power games due to his position, victim blaming act, difficult to believe that a respectful man with a good name in society can be accused of harassment. And ways to overcome it is to report the incident at once. And do not be afraid to lose even your job. Leave from the environment that's causing harassment and seek out at once help in getting over it. And the effect includes helplessness, anger, depression, humiliation, loss of confidence, and self-esteem. And some victims cannot sleep or concentrate or suffer headaches, backache, and other physical stress symptoms. And sexual harassment remains challenging to forget in the victim's minds, even if it happened long ago. And victims usually withdraw themselves from their friends or from any social group or gatherings, and the victim's personal life is seriously and sometimes damaged. And the victim suffers alone in silence, and sexual harassment is one of the most severe and intrusive violation that can be committed against a person, and it may have lasting effects on the victims physically and psychologically and emotionally. So the most frequent forms of sexual harassment are sexual jokes or remarks about one's body or clothes or sex life. Another common form is unsolicited physical contact or nonverbal, like staring, whistling. And of course, these are unwanted, improper or offensive behaviors and create victim humiliation with devastating conditions. So in some cases, there is a tendency to think that a specific behavior is considered innocent, such as joking or flirting. In reality, harmless joking or flirting has the opposite meaning. So society labels the perpetrators, if they are male, boys will always be boys, thus giving them the excuse to do what they do. So there is a natural tendency to see peer behavior as joking, conveying sexual interest. Something is done to get attention, but not having a hostile intent. So in reality, harassment has nothing to do with mutual attraction from both parties, or it happens for friendship. So another form of harassment is the curiosity. This kind of curiosity comes from the ego side. It's a form of communication harassment. It's an invasion of someone's privacy and space. Some examples are receiving messages from unknown people through social media. How is your family? How is life treating you? Where do you live? Are you married? What kind of work you do? And this kind of communication is an invasion of our private life, and it's a form of harassment. If someone wants to get to know you better, he needs to ask you for permission if you want to get to know them as well. For example, please introduce yourself because I want to know you better. And this is a more polite way to get to know someone. And you can answer back if you want to share your private life or not. And if you start to feel uncomfortable, that's harassment. And another example is dating someone. You start dating someone and he promises sweet nothings to gain whatever his intentions are. So after he gets what he came for, he disappears. So you call, but he is always busy to see you. And I'm referring for a man. So this is sexual harassment or a form of rape culture or sexual abuse. For example, a man that awakens a woman's love and leaves her with sweet nothings is a rapist of her soul. And this kind of crime never reaches the courts. So it would be best if you were careful when you meet someone new, and we will briefly discuss it after I finish my presentation. So sexual harassment is considered a stigma that prevents victims from reporting to authorities. And although it is considered a crime, it is the most unreported. Feelings of fear, embarrassment, or shame that victims experience makes this crime very difficult to come out in the light, and unfortunately, it stays in silence behind closed doors. And sometimes the victims are not believed, or maybe drop a court case because of lack of evidence, and victims do not report because they are not always being believed. Or instead of listening to what they want to report, many dismiss them. So victims refuse to report for several other reasons as well. So many women don't report harassment because of fear of retaliation by their harasser or the organization they're working. And organizations can trivialize sexual harassment or result in hostility and retaliation against the victim. They might lose their job. And sexual harassment is unwelcome, unwanted attention from someone that causes to the victim discomfort, humiliation, and distress. And harassment usually relates to intimidation, exploitation, power, and not, as I already said, to natural, mutual, personal attraction and respect. So zero tolerance for sexual harassment. Say no, even if that means you have to lose your job. And let's go see now about bullying. Is when a person intentionally repeats an aggressive behavior and attitude towards another person. And it's an intense intimidation that creates a pattern of humiliation again, just like harassment, abuse, and fear for the victim. And it's a hostile intention, imbalance of power, and repetition over a period of time. It's a behavior that is repeated and hurts the individual physically, mentally, and emotionally. And bullying can be defined as the systemic abuse of power. And this inequality of power implies dominance and is often associated with social skills and manipulation of belief. So let's go see the types. It's physical bullying is when someone hurts someone's body or damages their possessions. It's a form of violence, and the bully attacks by physical force its victim. So it includes kicking, pitching, spitting, pushing, taking or breaking someone's things, and making mean or rude hand gestures. And research has suggested that bullies choose victims who are not likely to be defended, so the weaker ones, and so as to minimize loss of affection and support from significant others. And bullies pick up from the crowd the weaker ones, so to bully them. And the verbal bullying is conducted by speaking. When someone starts making fun of you about what you said or done and spreads different kind of rumors for something you didn't even do, and call names intentionally to hurt someone's feelings. So in this type of bullying, the bully uses his voice, and they use inappropriate speech, so to gossip about others or speak ill for others. And girls usually use this technique to dominate and control others and show that they are superior and powerful. And some boys use verbal bullying as well for domination, as to avoid to get into physical bullying. So it includes teasing, name calling, inappropriate sexual comments, threatening to cause harm. So there's another form, relational bullying, is used so to hurt somebody's reputation or social standing. And the bullies of this category conduct this act as to improve their own social standing and to control others. And this can go on for far too long without being ever noticed. And it includes leaving someone out on purpose, telling others not to be friends with someone, spreading rumors, embarrassing someone in public. And the victim of this category faces high risk of emotional and psychological problems such as depression, anxiety, loneliness, mistrust, and low self-esteem. And victims of relational bullying is, in particular, are higher risk of developing loneliness and emotional problems. So in some cases, envy and resentment motivates people to bully one another. And people with high self-esteem and need to show their power over others tend to bully. And in other cases, they become arrogant and narcissistic, and they believe in their superiority, and bullies act the way they do because they have been bullied themselves in the past and learned this attitude from others. And it's kind of a learning experience. And a stressful home, an unhealthy environment, and hostile siblings result to develop an individual with aggressive behavior. And a bully has trouble in resolving problems with others. And he or she has negative attitudes and beliefs about others and feels negative towards themselves. So usually a bully comes from a conflict-poor parenting environment. And bullies have very strong personalities with strong need to control others and dominate them. So in some cases, the victims is to be blamed for keeping silent and not seeking help. And victims need to develop their social skills to fit in a group setting. So victims who have been bullied must take the step to report rather than staying in silence. And that means even the sexual harassment victims, and not feeling that they will get the bullying trouble. So remove the shame and report the incident. This is what you all should do. So I want to open now a discussion, and I want to call Aaron and Angeline to open up their cameras so they can see the slide with their discussion. I'm going to read it along. So if someone wants to get to know you better, he needs to ask you for permission. And if you want to get to know them as well, ask about his intentions, even if he's lying. Action speaks louder than words. So it would be best to be careful when meeting someone new, especially from social media. If they want to get to know you better and you don't, it's best to remove yourselves or unfriend or block them if he insists to harass you in any way. So I would like you to share your insights about this topic. What's your opinion about social media? Are you receiving this kind of, you don't know who they are and they're asking. Okay. So we want to inform our viewers here and give them our insights about it.
Sure. Okay. So regarding social media, yes, especially if someone is coming out of sexual abuse, sexual violence, they need to be careful and be mindful. Check their profile. And if you're going to meet someone, meet them in a public place like a coffee shop. So that's something that I implemented after my divorce. And freedom from domestic violence, not sexual violence, but domestic violence. It works the same way too. You have to be careful. Check their profile. Do a, if they're open to doing a FaceTime with you, do a FaceTime. And I've had the pleasure of meeting a lot of people on social media. So I only had one issue, but that was it. That was a long time ago, and I blocked that person. So yeah, I just blocked them from my reality. But otherwise, yes, make sure, just be aware and get to know the person, because sometimes what people portray on social media is not their real life. if
Exactly.
that makes sense.
Yeah. And you know, a lot of people reported, Angeline, that, you know, people send them all kinds of questions, unknown people. And they reported that, you know, a lot of them are scammers, and we have to be careful about that. So if we meet somebody new, don't be that too much open. Better to, you know, take your time in meeting them, even social media. And make time, right, Angeline? So I think they shouldn't, when they meet somebody, they shouldn't give them too much. What do you think?
You mean give them too much and not give them too much
Information
information?
for your
I
life.
agree. I agree. I agree. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Mhm.
That's what I was actually going to say in the beginning. Yeah. Don't give them too much information. Don't tell them where you live, blah, blah, blah. Unless it's someone you really know and trust, then that's a different story. Okay. So, um, yeah. So just be very careful. Be very careful because, you know, and make sure you have your phone with you at all times when you're meeting someone in a public place. Um, you know,
And not in a,
because
and not in a private place, because you don't know them, right?
right, right, you want to get to know them in a public place is safe. A coffee shop is the safest place to meet
Yeah. And
because there are people.
not even at night. You don't have to go meet somebody for the first time at night. Choose to meet them daytime, with daylight.
Right, exactly, 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 absolutely.
Okay, so thank you very much,
You're
Angeline, for being
welcome.
here.
You're
And
welcome, Elena. Thank you for having me here.
thank you to your
And
viewers. And
thank you for bringing awareness to this issue
yeah,
because it's not talked about enough. So we need to spread awareness.
exactly. It's not only domestic violence, we have sexual harassment also, bullying, sexual abuse, trafficking. There are lots of forms of abuse.
Exactly. 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 Well, have a good rest of your day, Elena. Thank you so much.
Thank you too. Bye bye.